ended. So partnerships 5, 19, 31, 15, 83, 49 and 12. Two people suggesting the stream has ended. It seems to have gone back to the beginning. In comes Potts with a short one. That's left alone. He's having a word with Carveus, who wanders away and stares at him from a distance, twisting his bat in his hands. The feed does seem to have gone back to the beginning of the day for some reason, and now it's gone back to normal again. In comes Potts. Play to short mid-wicket. No run. I'm presuming they can do the extra half hour rather than go into the fourth day. I'm sure they can, but they are past the scheduled supposed close of play at 5:30. I'll check with the score in a minute. Got to do an update in a minute with Total Sport on Radio Newcastle. Potts is going to come round the wicket now to Carveus, who he sees as prey. Right arm around. Comes steaming in and bowls, and it's gone down the leg side to the keeper. Well, it's been a cracker, this one, so far from a Durham point of view. They declared earlier today on 505 for 9, so that meant Sussex were 239 in arrears at the start of their second innings. They're currently 215 for 7, so still 24 runs behind. There are 8 overs left today, roughly half an hour, and if Durham could get another wicket on the board, then I think we're in territory where the umpires with 2 left, rather than come back tomorrow, would add an extra half hour on today. So the bowling has been fantastic. There was a good partnership for the 5th wicket at 83 runs from Cheteshwar Pujara and Ollie Carter. Pujara, though, got a little bit becalmed before he reached his half century, and just a moment or two after it, he was out LBW to Matt Parkinson. The ball stayed low. Then Ollie Carter had a stroke of luck. He was yorked by past the Lader. The ball hit his pads, rolled onto the stumps, but the bails didn't come off. But the Lader got him LBW the next over for 80, and then he's just yorked Jack Carson for 8 as well. Cracking delivery from him. So Durham on top here, looking to try and seal a win in 3 days. They can't go up this week, but victory here with the maximum points they've gained will see them needing just 5 from the final 2 matches to go up and take the championship as well. We just had a 4 there, which has gone down to fine leg, with Hudson Prentice on strike on 30. Deficit now 20. Lader bowling 2 for 27 from 6.1. Again, he's found that Yorker length ball right on off stump, and it's played away by Hudson Prentice. Quite a bit of dust coming up as he played at that one. Angus says, "Hi Marty, enjoying your commentary as always, listening from Vancouver for a change." Oh, lovely. What a beautiful city that is. Been there, wasn't there on honeymoon. Really enjoyed Ryan Campbell. Think he had worked wonders with Durham, but not taking anything for granted until it actually happens. Keep up the good work. Delayed her in again, and that's played by Hudson Prentice up to the covers no run there. Have you been to Vancouver?
I was in Vancouver in February, Martin.
Oh, right.
My daughter was working over there up at Whistler.
Oh, I was going to say, if it was
For a
February, you
ski
might have
season.
gone to Whistler skiing.
Yeah,
It's a lovely place.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Chocolate box resort. Isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It reminded sort of like Disneyland, really.
Well, we were there
But
on
beautiful.
honeymoon in Whistler for a few days in the height of the summer. It was July, and we went mountain biking one day. And in the middle of this mountain biking trip, I lost my wife. And when I got back to the mountain biking shop, the guys were talking about this big bear that had been spotted on the trail. So I was panicking. The later balls, it says skidded in. It's played away by Hudson Prentice for one. But what a gorgeous place. And then a few years later, so that was 2001 when we were out there. And in 2006, we went back and we did the other side. And we stayed at Mont Tremblant. And it's the same company who own both resorts. So Mont Tremblant and Whistler look the same, even though one's west side and one's east side.
Right.
A gorgeous area.
Yeah, it is. There was Whistler. Whistler was one of the ski resorts, and Blackcomb was the other one.
Yeah.
But it was lovely, and there was lots of snow. It was expensive there, though, Martin.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
Did you get to Vancouver Island?
No, didn't.
That's gorgeous. Went over there for a few days to a little village called Tofino, and we went kayaking through all these inlets and bears on the rocks and bald eagles in the trees and seals following us and otters and all kinds. Gorgeous place. Went to the hot springs there. I recommend that.
What do you think here, Marty? Do you think they would need to get one more wicket to claim this half hour?
Yeah.
Would Durham claim the half hour, do you think, with 8 down?
Would, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I'm going to go and check with the scorers now that you're here. I'll wait till the later finishes this over, though.
Yeah.
2 balls left. Here's the first of them.
Ooh.
And it's another Yorker length
Yeah.
ball. Cavellis
Look at that.
gets it away.
He's got his hands on his head as if to say that nearly got through. Actually,
These deliveries are laser guided, aren't they?
Well, they're tremendous.
One of them is a Yorker, and it's getting right in there on middle and off stump.
I'll say everyone would have hit the stumps.
Yeah.
Why has Potts got the hump with Cavellos?
I don't know.
He kept following.
I know he's been giving it a few, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
I don't know. Last ball off the over. And that was actually a length ball. And it's played away to mid-off, no run.
So Marty's gone to find out the exact situation with the score. It's 220 for 7. The deficit is 19. For those of you just joining us, and people are joining us the whole time, Durham have been utterly dominant today. They declared eventually on 505 for 9. A maiden first-class century for Baz Dalina, who batted beautifully for 103. Graham Clark making 128. Those two adding 207 for the 6th wicket for Durham, which really took the game away for Sussex. Henry Crocombe, who had a rough day yesterday, took all 4 wickets for Sussex today, as in comes Potts to bowl to Hudson Prentice, who glides that down towards third man. They'll take one. That's all they'll take. That's very good fielding down there. I have to say, Durham have been just incredibly impressive in this match. I mean, that was a ball that was played down to third man, and immediately the Durham fielder was off like a hare, fielding the ball. I think that's George Frizzell all the way down there. And he just made sure it was a single and made absolutely certain that Harry Cavellos is now going to have to face Matt Potts, who doesn't seem best pleased with Harry Cavellos for one reason or another. So the lead, there was a declaration, 505 for 9. The lead was 239, and Durham have just gradually worked their way through this Sussex lineup. Ollie Carter's made 80, Cheteshwar Pujara 51, but really precious little else. What's the word from the scorers, Marty?
Well, the general consensus is another wicket and, yes, an extra half hour, but it has to be in the realms of the umpires believe there will be a result today.
Right.
So if, for instance, Sussex have got into a lead...
Here comes Potts and bowls. Cavellos defends onto the onside, no run. I see, yes.
Oh, I mean, yeah, so if, say, I don't know, they've got them 8 down, but Sussex are in the lead, and by the time they're bowled out, there's 40 or 50 runs on the board, say, for instance. The umpires don't think it's reasonable. The runs will be chased that night. They'll come back the next day. I can remember 2 or 3 situations in recent years where they've come back for 1 wicket on the final day.
Potts. 2 slips go down. In and bowls, and Cavellos defends into the offside. There is no run. He's stopped going all the way down the wicket now as Matty Bowles. I think you're right. 18 needed to take it into a final to make Durham bat again.
I think there might have been a match this year, possibly Derbyshire, where they came back for 10 balls or something.
Yeah, I think I was. Yeah.
But twice it happened in games where Keaton Jennings got 100, and I'm interviewing him at the end of day 3, Durham needing 1 wicket the following day.
What's in bowls to Cabellas? Who calls? Is it going to be? No, he's going to get runs. He's going to get 4.
Oh.
That will not improve the mood of Matty Potts at all. Cabellas has pulled that one. I think that came off his gloves, and it's gone all the way down, directly over Robinson's head, for a boundary down to the Lumley end. And Matt Potts, who's had a few words for Harry Cabellas. The lead is now, or the deficit is now 14. Cabellas, there is his first run, 225 for 7.
Just tried a hook. I think he got a top edge there. Over the slip corner and away for 4.
Yeah. I reckon Potts will have this one right in the block hole. In he comes, bowls, and Cabellas is up to the task, blocks it to mid off, and Potts follows all the way down the wicket. He's walked all the way down. He's having a word to Harry Cabellas, who just turns his back on Potts. And wonders, he's a big fella, Harry Cabellas, you know. I'm not sure I'd want to be, well, so is Potts. I'm a little surprised that Michael Goff hasn't had a word, actually.
I wonder what's being said.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly done something to really rile Matty Potts, because he walked all the way down the wicket, was clearly engaging in a dialogue, which I would imagine was not that friendly to Harry Cabellas. In comes Potts. Bowl short. Cabellas is beaten outside the off stump. Potts this time just turns and wanders away. End of the over. 6 overs.
6 overs to go.
25-7. Hudson Prentice is on 32. Cabellas is on 4. The arrears are 14. It is just a matter of time whether it's tonight or tomorrow when Durham will complete this victory, and Sussex will return a long, long way to come for 3 points, Marty.
Yeah, I mean, if these two can just get their heads down and put a little partnership together to push this into tomorrow, and then who knows? You know, 3 wickets these days can earn you 100 runs easily. So
I'd be surprised.
Well, it happens.
Yeah.
Then you're looking at maybe tomorrow lunchtime or early afternoon for a finish to this game. Here's the leader, though. Does he have other ideas? 2 for 28 from 7 he's taken so far. And Hudson Prentice plays that up to mid-off for 1. He looks decent with a bat in his hand, by the way, Hudson Prentice. He's not, you know, he's not a rabbit, is he? He knows what he's doing. He's got a highest score of 99 for Derbyshire against Middlesex in 2019. He's had 11 half-centuries, 6 this year. Highest score this year, 91 not out against in comes the bowler. And where's that gone off downwards? Fine leg for 1. That's not this year. His previous highest score had been 91 not out against Notts in 2020. High score this year, 73 at home to Glamorgan and 73 in Leeds. So he can do a bit. So if he gets a half-century on the board here, and he's got 33 now, if he pushes on, gets 60 or 70, then somebody else has got a few runs at the other end. And they've pushed on. They've got a lead of 60, 70, something like that. Played by Hudson Prentice again off towards the covers for 1 run. Bernard saying, is there a possibility if the 9th wicket falls with the last ball of the extra overs, the umpires have the discretion to allow a second batch of extra overs? I don't think they do. I'm just trying to remember a scenario that's going to go for 4. That was a Yorker just wide of off stump, and it was met on the bounce by Carveus, and it's gone down for 4 to third man. There was a strange scenario at Derby 2 or 3 years ago where Durham were 8 down towards tea, so they played the extra half hour, lost a wicket in the last over before tea, so they then added another half hour on, but that wasn't the end of the match. That was only tea. In comes Deleda. It's pushed away by Carveus up to mid-off. So there was still plenty of overs left in that day. There was still another 30 odd to go that day. Whereas with this, you are at the end of the day's play. And I think there becomes an issue with the actual end of the scheduled timing of the day's play.
The arrears are now 7, so I'd imagine
Yeah.
if Sussex do get into positive territory, then they won't enforce this.
Delayed it. It's an edge. Oh, what a great catch from Borthwick. He's at second slip. It's a thick edge, and he dived away across to his right and snatched that out the air. Carvelis is out for 9. Now, they're 8 down. We are into extra overs territory. The deficit is 7. But that was a cracking catch by the Durham skipper, who put himself into the slips. He was the only one in there, and rather than being at first slip, he was at second, and he absolutely pouched that one.
He did.
Now there's a conversation going on between Michael Jones and the umpires about the very thing we've been talking about,
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Well, I'd have thought, it would seem, I mean, all common sense in the world would say, Martin, wouldn't it? You're in a situation, you've got, 300 or 400 people in the ground. It's a beautiful sunny evening. Why on earth wouldn't you allow the extra half an hour, to be honest? Well, the new man is coming in, is the Sussex debutant, Jadav Unadkat, who I've struggled with his name the whole way through. I've got Unadkat. It's easily enough, either way. You were saying you looked up, he got a top score, I think you said, of 82, Martin, so I was a little surprised that he batted below Harry Carvelis. With the ball, he didn't have the greatest of debuts for Sussex. 24 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 93. But he's coming out to bat with Finn Hudson-Prentice, who you just can't get on striker. He was taking the singles, Hudson-Prentice, wasn't he? That was the end of the over. Look at the leader's figures, Martin. 8 overs, 3 for 35. So, arrears are 7. He's struggling with it as well.
Yeah.
The stadium announcer. So, Carvelis has gone. Matthew Potts comes roaring in to bowl to Hudson-Prentice, who pulls away on the leg side and takes a single. He's got faith in his lower order batsman as Hudson-Prentice. He goes to 34. Unadkat is on strike to Matthew Potts, and I'd imagine the field will come in as Durham have the scent of victory in their nostrils, and in fairness, have had for some time. Potts, there are 2 slips in place. Comes rushing in, bowls, and then he's very confidently forward. Looks a decent player to me. In fact, I'm a little surprised he didn't come in at 9. I thought in the first innings he looked a decent player. Only made 1, but there was a very confident forward defensive shot. 6 runs needed for Sussex to avoid an innings defeat here. They go into positive territory. I don't know. They have got a tricky decision. I don't think they would give the extra half hour. It seems sensible to me. Potts in, bowls to Unadkat, who's forward, plays to point. There is no run. I was running through the Sussex card earlier for the benefit of those who are joining us. Clark 2, Haynes 12, Alsop 18, Coles 5, Pujara 51, Carter 80, Carson 8, Carvelis 9. A stout resistance from Carter and Pujara. That was the partnership that threatened to take this into another day. Potts. Oh, to an case hit on the pad, looking to pull it onto the leg side. Potts appeals, I think, more in hope and jest than anything else.
That was a polite inquiry, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's hit. I think that's hit him round about the. I think that could have hit him where there was no protection, actually.
His highest score is 92. Right. Surashtra against Jammu and Kashmir in 2015. He's got 8 50s.
Right, so he's no mug with the bat, is he? Now, for some reason, the field is spreading here. This because it's the last ball of the over. They can offer him the single.
2 to go.
2 to go, yeah, it's 2 to go.
It's a cunning plan.
It is a cunning plan. Well, Durham's cunning plans have worked most of the match. Maybe it'll work today. In comes Potts, bowls to an Agcat who's forward defensively. There's nothing wrong with that either. Plays it straight back down the track, and David Beddingham runs across the field, and there is no run.
Brian, the former Durham scorer, used to recall a story where Durham had gone away somewhere in a county championship match, and at the end of the Saturday night, then had to leave that ground to go somewhere else in the country for a one-dayer in the Sunday League, to then come back on the Monday morning for either one run or one wicket. And I'm sure the destination was somewhere like Portsmouth.
Potts in, bowls, and Agcat pulls, and the fielder, that was George Frizzell, didn't see that. He was at mid-wicket, he didn't see it, and it's a single. So it does mean, sorry, Marty, that Basdelida will have, will be bowling to an Agcat. 234 for 8. The arrears are now 5. That's ludicrous, isn't it? Having to come back all that for just a wicket or a run.
Yeah, I can't remember the journey. I'm sure they went from somewhere like Portsmouth to Taunton or Cardiff, and then had to come all the way back to Portsmouth.
That's bonkers, isn't it?
Paul says the name the leader literally means manager, and he's certainly managing to destroy the Sussex tail today, he says.
Yes.
It has been a fantastic spell of bowling for him. I think he bowled 3 overs when he...
Yes, he had.
When he came into the attacks, he was taking these 3 wickets in 5 overs. Not many runs. Comes in and bowls. Oh, that's off the pads, is appealing. I think that's going down the leg side. We're at a slight angle here, so...
good shout, though. I have to say, I think the quality of the umpiring in this match has been very high, Martin.
Well, Michael Gott's one of the best umpires in the world. He's a World Cup umpire, test umpire.
He's just been very good. Both he and Jack Chantry, great experience for Jack Chantry as well. I mean, I just think, they've been unfussy. It's a lot easier when you get a lovely weather, isn't it? You're not on and off for rain, etc.
The leader in. Oh, well kept out. That was a Yorker.
Yeah.
And Cat plays it up to mid-on. There's a little posse of people gathered at the far end of the ground in the car park there, as if they're all ready to do a runner, but they don't know if they need to or not. Next to the sight screen.
What have we got left? 3 overs after this, Martin.
Mervin's at the far end in his MCC Panama hat. The leader comes in, and he's got J-Dev on his back, if you want to call him J-Dev instead. It's easier than an ad card.
Does Borthwick have to request the extra half hour, Martin?
I presume so.
I presume he does.
But it's down to the umpires, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it is down to the umpires. Things like bad light at one time, the umpires used to offer it to the batsman, but that changed a few years ago, probably about 10 years ago, where suddenly they would just make the decision.
Yeah.
3 balls left of the over. And that's a half volley wide of off stump, played out into the covers to Potts by Bernard Cad. I'm expecting this is the time of the day when the tree surgeon comes back into the car park looking for a parking spot, having failed to get one earlier in the day.
I can see Scott Borthwick just wave there in the direction of Matt Parkinson. I reckon we're going to see a bit of leg spin, Oh, right, okay. Well, here comes a truck, but it's not a...
No, he hasn't got the mulcher on the back, has he?
No. Oh, dear, that mulcher.
2 balls left of the over. And Nadcad goes down on one knee and drives that up to Ben Rain at mid-on. It gets there eventually. It bobbles all the way up.
And now the field spreads as they're looking to allow Nadcad the single.
Reminder, Worcestershire won today and Leicestershire won.
Yeah.
So Worcestershire have 158 points. Durham have got 8 bonus points from this game so far, so they move on to 182, plus 16 for the win. This has gone off towards square leg, would take them up to 198. Leicestershire have won They've got a game in hand, so they have 130 points. 3 overs to go, in theory, now. Plus any extras. 2, 3, 5 for 8. The deficit's 4, so this is the key now. If Sussex manage to push ahead and get a lead, it then becomes a question of how far that lead goes as to whether we would see an extra half hour or not. Yeah. Well, having said that, they're still 4 behind with 3 overs to go, so you would imagine they're not going to be any more than maybe 4 or 5 ahead after 3 overs.
No, I mean, we've got to have these 3 overs. That is definitely going to happen. And as you say, my feeling is that from here they probably would ask for the other half hour and just see if they can get this done. And if nothing else, for the benefit of the spectators, actually, who have stayed here all day.
Yeah. Potts has taken 3 for 48, so he and Ben Rain have 51 wickets each in the championship this year, and the leading wicket takers in Division 2.
And in comes Matthew Potts to try and make it 52. He's in and bowls, and forward comes the Nat Cat plays to mid-on. There is no run, fielded by Bellingham. Because I would imagine if it does go into tomorrow, there's not going to be many people who are going to come along tomorrow for a very, very limited amount of cricket.
Well, earlier in the year,
I might be wrong.
They came back one morning for what could have been a ball, 2 balls, something like that. I'm trying to remember who it was. And there were 250 people here.
Wow. Potts bowls, and that Cat's beaten outside the off-stump, groping forward at fresh air, taken by Robinson. There is no run.
Who was that against again? Was it the Worcestershire game? Yeah, that finished in 3 days. Oh, no, it didn't.
Those lengthening here as Potts runs away from us. Bowls, and that Cat's beaten for the 2nd time in a row outside the off-stump, again groping forward through to Robinson. And again, there is no run. Finn Hudson-Prentice wanders down the wicket to have a word to Nat Cat, who...
I'll tell you which game that might have been. That was the Yorkshire game here when Durham came back on the final day, 8 down.
Potts in and bowls, and that Cat is solidly forward. His forward defensive is a good forward defensive. Plays that to mid-off, fielded there by Ben Rain, who is celebrating and cheering for unreason. I don't quite know why. There's obviously some sort of a joke going on there, I think, with the...
That was the match. Durham needed 33 to win. They were 8 down in their 2nd innings, came back on the final morning and won by 1 wicket for the 3rd time in their history.
Wow. In comes Potts. Away from us. Bowls, and that's wide of the off-stump, and that lets that go through to Ollie Robinson, and there is no run.
Well, half an hour late anyway here now, aren't we?
No, we are.
There's been plenty of wickets today.
Yes. 1 more ball to go in this over, then there are 2 overs. I think Parkinson's going to bowl one of them, certainly. It was, I'm sure he got the nod from Scott Borthwick. The evening sunshine in and bowls. And Cad pulls that one down to fine leg. He's going to get a single of the final ball of the over. So he's going to retain the strike, which will be frustrating for Finn Hudson-Prentice, who remains 35 now. Sussex. Well, I guess he could have turned the run down, Hudson-Prentice, if he wanted, but the deficit is now 3. And there are 2 overs left in the day. There's a bit of a discussion going on with Jack Chantry at the far end and a couple of the Durham players, but I think it is going to be Parkinson who's going to bowl the next over. Yeah, he's taking off his jumper. And so we will see whether we'll carry on much longer after the these 2 overs.
Shadows are starting to get longer.
No, they are.
It's probably still another good half hour in the day yet.
Oh, I mean, it's a glorious evening, isn't it? I mean, you know,
I imagine getting home tonight and seeing people out on the river on the path.
oh, Marty, if you were finishing work now, you get 9 holes of golf in easily, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, it'd be as to say the light's not good enough or whatever.
It was getting dark about 8:30 last night.
Yeah.
Well, so Parkinson's back into the attack, so he's taken 2 for 63 from his 20 overs.
What's the river that runs through Durham, Martin? Is that the Weir? It is the Weir. Is it tidal to there or not?
No, it's tidal just round the corner from here. So all of the, over the back end of Chester Street towards the east is Lord Lambton's estate. And there's a weir just through the trees, really, just down river from here. That's about as tidal as it gets us. Parkinson bowls. That's played back to him by an adcat. I went up the river about 2 or 3 weeks ago on a mate's boat, and it was a spring tide. And we were trying to see how many bridges we could get under. I think we did about 12 in the end before we turned round. And that was because we were more or less as far as up as we could get, but with a lot of floodwater from heavy rain. Didn't quite carry through. I don't think Pot's got a hand on that, you know. If he did, he hasn't got a full hand on it. No. Run down towards third man for 2.
And that brings the arrears for 1.
Mm-hmm. He was at full stretch trying to dive on it. Yeah, we got up past Lord Lambton's castle, and I'd never seen any of that before. And then we turned round because there was one bridge we weren't sure was safe enough to go under, and followed the tide back down again. But that was quite a journey up the river. Mm-hmm. It's a good hour and a half, I would say. In comes Parkinson. He bowls, and Adcat defends. He's on 5. 1.3 overs of the normal allocation today remaining. Parkinson in, and Adcat looks to drive, and he's gone after that one. I'm not sure if he's towed that onto his toe. Oh no, he's just not really hit it very well. He's feathered it straight into the floor and back to the bowler.
His full defensive looks quite good. I'm not sure when he's looked to go on the attack, it hasn't looked great, has it?
That was a bit of a slog sweep, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Parkinson bowls, and Adcat forward defends that one. 1 ball after this over. Stuart Dick says, how cushy is the umpire's hotel? We'll find out in the next few minutes whether they fancy another night there or not. I'm just wondering, actually, if Michael Goff might just be driving back down to Hartlepool. Probably will. Last ball of the over. Parkinson to an Adcat. It's defended. So, there are, in theory, 6 balls left today. And then we're in the realms of an extra half hour, which is meant to be 8 overs. Potts is going to bowl this final scheduled over. 20 overs, 3 for 49, 4 maidens.
Ben Rayner's barely bowled, is he, in this? Oh no, it's 12 overs, to be fair. 12 overs, 0 for 42. More than I thought, actually. So what can Potts do here? In this last over of the day, possibly runs away from us, comes into bowl to Finn Hudson-Prentice, who's on 35. He's in a bowl, and Hudson-Prentice spots that one away. The scores are now level, so it means that Durham will have to bat again. Is that right? Yeah, that run goes up on the board. So he did that away, tennis bat style, did Hudson-Prentice. So Durham will need to bat, so that will take a break of, a couple of overs, won't it? So if the umpire's allowed 8 more overs, it means that, well, hang on, yeah. In comes Potts, running away from us. He's in a bowl. Oh, was he bowling with his LBW? Michael was allowed a clear one. I thought for a moment he bowled.
Doing too much.
And that cat, it was right up in the block hole, and the cat was in a dreadful tangle, but he kept it out.
It's going down the leg side, that one.
Michael Goff is unmoved. So it's a dot ball. So wicket fell, yeah, so supposing they said, right, we'll allow you 8 extra overs, they will lose 2 of those for the change in innings.
Yeah.
But if Durham only needs all 6 to win,
yeah,
I think they will have this extra half hour, you know. Unless Scott Borthwick decides, well, the lads are a bit worn out. We'll just.
Oh, you think they'd want to come back tomorrow instead of having a day off?
I wouldn't have thought so.
No.
In comes Potts, racing in, bowls, and that cat drives. Potts fields off his own bowling, and there is no run.
Equally, in 8 overs' time, Sussex could have a lead of 25 or 30 or something.
Yeah, I think that's unlikely, Marty. But it's been mighty impressive from Durham. And Rain hands the ball to Matty Potts. 3 balls left in the day, possibly. Potts races in, bowls to an outcat who stretches forward. That ball defensive is a nice ball defensive. He plays it defensively into the covers, and there is no run. What a lovely evening. There's barely a breath of wind. Just the flags on the pavilion, just the slightest of flutters.
It'd be a nice night to be on the golf course, wouldn't it?
You would?
Unless you're staring into the sun and you can't see the pin.
The weather is absolutely glorious. Potts wheels around and is on his way in. Racing in, bowls to an cat who's forward, and he's pinched a single here, which is a little surprising, with 1 ball to go in the over, but he does. So Sussex are, well, I think the applause is because Sussex
Got the lead.
have got a lead of 1. So perhaps slightly, I don't think it was ironic applause. Maybe the Durham public have been a bit sorry for Sussex because they've been well and truly outplayed in this game. The field comes in to save the single, which suggests to me that they are going to ask for this extra half hour because Hudson Prentice is on strike. They want to prevent the single being taken so that an advocate can face the next delivery. I reckon there will be an extra half hour. In comes Potts, bowls, and Hudson Prentice defends to mid-on. There is no run. It is the end of the over. And I think we're staying on.
Yeah.
We're going to have an extra 8 overs, an extra half hour. So, in the opinion of the umpires, there we are. And applause all the way around the ground. And I think that's the right thing to do. Well done, Durham. They clearly feel that they've got a chance of winning this game tonight. So we can have a late night, Marty. Bit of overtime.
Mm-hmm.
The light is perfectly good, so why wouldn't you? Now, who's going to bowl? It is going to be Matt Parkinson. He's going to be bowling too. And Nadcat.
So, 10 past 6. The extra half hour, 8 overs has been taken. Parkinson bowling to an adcat that rolls out on the offside, no run there. So bearing in mind, Durham have to try and restrict Sussex to as few runs as possible while getting 2 wickets in enough time that in the 2 hours lost to change the innings, they can still get back on and win today. Beddingham's got the helmet and is coming in as a silly point. Potts has gone to first slip for an adcat. Parkinson bowling from the Lumley end. Stumps are broken by the keeper, but batsman's got his back foot firmly in the crease.
That turned, Martin. Bit of bowling by Parkinson. Whatever happens, I wouldn't have thought that Sussex, even if it finishes tonight, would go home tonight. Be coach drivers' hours and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. In comes Parkinson again in an adcat. Paddles it round the corner, meets it on the bounce, and will get 1 run. So that brings Hudson Prentice on to strike on 36, and adcat moves on to 7. 241 for 8. The lead is a heady 2. So this is roughly the time a normal day and an 11 o'clock start should be finishing.
Yeah. Ben Rain's warming up.
They very rarely ever finish at 6.
No. Yeah, I think Potts is going to come off and maybe Rain's going to come on.
Well, Rain is a good partnership breaker. Parkinson in again, bowls. And that's met on the bounce by Hudson Prentice, who plays that to deep backward point for 1 run.
Probably realistically here then, Marty, if it were 4 overs remaining, you'd lose 2 of those, you'd have 2 to get the runs. Oh, 3 overs remaining, 1 over to get the run. So once you've had 5 overs, it probably means we're going to go into a final day.
Comes in and bowls. And that's in the air, but it's all right. It's safe. It's gone up towards mid-off from an Adcat. Durham up with the over, right? The +2 on there.
Mm-mm.
In comes the bowler again. And this one squirts down towards point.
Into the over, and I think it is going to be Ben Rain who's going to bowl the next over from the fickle end of the ground. Our lads rushing around, just getting themselves into their positions. 37 to Hudson Prentice, 7 to Adaka. If you're just joining us, wondering why on earth we're still playing at this time in September, it's because Durham have taken the extra half hour, which they're fully entitled to, because Sussex are 8 wickets down. I think there's a chance for a result today, which there is, because Sussex only lead by 3 runs. Durham declaring earlier on today on 505 for 9. A lead of 239, and apart from some resistance from Ollie Carter, who batted very well for 80, Cheteshwar Pujara with 51. It's another poor day for Sussex. Ben Rain into the attack, comes in and bowls short, bowls to Hudson Prentice, who short-arm jabs that through mid-wicket and picks up a single, and the field will now come in for the number 10 batsman, Unadkat.
The Keaton Jennings story, by the way. Twice Durham had to come back for 1 wicket the next day after he'd got 100 in both of the games. And he recalled a match in which his father was playing in first-class cricket in South Africa, Ray. They came back needing 1 wicket on the final day of a game and never got it.
Right. Really, what happened?
Team batted it out.
Well, Rain in bowls, and Adkat forward, plays to mid-off. He was looking for the single then, but it wasn't there, and coming trotting in is Scott Borthwick, the skipper. No, it wasn't. It was, or is it? Who fielded that, Marty? Can't see his number on his back.
And where in the covers?
Yeah.
It's Parkinson, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Borthwick's in the slips, I think, at first.
It was second.
Second slip.
Michael Jones at first?
Yeah.
Rain. Away from us. Coming into bowl to Unadkat. He's in. Unadkat is. Well, I thought for a minute he'd edge that into the slip cordon, but he didn't. And racing in is Alex Lees.
Sunset in Chesley Street tonight, 10 to 8.
Right.
And the temperature's still apparently 20 degrees.
Lovely. That's a beautiful evening, isn't it? Rain wanders back to his mark. Sussex's lead is 4. We've got 6 overs remaining after this. 2 slips go down, and Rain is on his way to bowl to Unadkat. He's in a bowl. Unadkat drives firmly into the covers. Fielded there by Parkinson, and there is no run. In fact, a new ball will be available in 4 overs' time.
So they'd have 2 overs with it.
So they'd have 2, yeah. 2 overs with, yeah, because we'll have the 8 overs tonight regardless, won't we? They've been forced the extra half hour, so we will have those overs even if we can't get a result tonight. Whether Durham will take it, probably would, perhaps just for
I think they would.
Rain, he'll skip and a jump, starts his run into the stumps. He's in and bowls. Unadkat drives. Rain fields on the bounce of his own bowling, and there is no run. The crowd have lost.
I wonder why they took the leader out of the attack.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was causing all kinds of problems.
He was, yeah.
Took 3 wickets. It's Scott Borthwick, the skipper, trying to keep his players on their toes there, not let them just settled into a little late afternoon stupor here.
You go. Well, the field is now set back. They're allowing an egg at the single of the final ball of the over. He's on his way, running away from us. In and ball. So an egg is forward, and they do take the single. So
Slower ball, wasn't it?
there's no suggestion here of an egg wanting to keep this, to let Hudson Prentice have the strike. A single's taken. I'm a bit surprised, really. Anyway, an egg goes to 8. 2:44 for 8. The Sussex lead is now 5. And there are 6 overs remaining in the day, the first of which is going to be bowled by Matt Parkinson, who takes off his cap. Hudson Prentice and Anaka have a natter in the middle of the pitch.
Paul's wondering if this will be finished before he's had his tea. And he's started on his tea. It looks like chicken wraps with some wedges, spicy wedges, and a bit of squirty stuff. What do you call it? Relish. Mayonnaise. Parkinson comes in. Starting a new over. And Adcad on the back foot pushes it out to the covers to Borthwick. No run there. Thomas says, brilliant day again. Brilliant season. Thanks for the commentary. Next ball is edged. Oh, it's bounced out the hands of
Dropped.
Potts at first slip, and the keeper couldn't reach it.
Yeah.
It more or less hit Potts in the chin, and it ricocheted off him. And the keeper dived to try and retrieve the situation, and he couldn't reach it. And Adcad gets a life on 8. Leads 5. Parkinson in again. That's wide of off stump, and that's cut to the covers. Picked up by Delader, top ball.
Yeah, it went very fast, didn't it, to Matt Potts? He was sort of above his head, but he managed to sort of carry it. He got both hands to it.
It was around chin high, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Bowler comes and balls, and Adcad sweeps. There's a man feeling out there in Lees. He'll get 1 down at long leg. Well, the thing here is once Sussex get to within 3 overs to go, that's it for the day, because once they're in the third last over...
Will they not keep going for the full 8?
Well, they would, but then Durham wouldn't be able to come out and bat.
No.
Because say they were dismissed.
Yeah.
With 3 overs to go, but in that third last over, you lose the over you're in, plus 2 for the change of innings, so... Parkinson bowls, that's defended.
I just wonder whether you commit to the final half hour, whether you have to bowl all the overs that are allowable in that.
Oh, yeah. Better bowl them once to start them. Unless it rains or something. Oh,
that's a good shot.
Prentice down the track and launches that one down the field for 6, I think.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's bounced just in front of the rope. The rope at the far end's in deep shadow now, so it's difficult to work out where that pitched, but couldn't have been far off. End of the over, so 5 to go. The lead is 10.
Yeah.
Total Sport will be coming to us on Radio Newcastle shortly, but when, I have no idea. We'll just suddenly hear them in our ears.
Have a sport show every night.
Yeah.
Between 6 and 7?
6 and 8.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. She has the resources to do that night after night. Crumbs.
Mm-hmm. You just go straight on the music at 6 o'clock?
Yeah, we don't have any. I gather there are plans for there to be a sports show. But no idea. Ben Rain runs away from us, comes into bowl to Nadcat, who's forward and defends to mid-on, fielded there by David Bellingham. There is no run.
Bit of the tension's been taken out this now about whether Durham could get close enough to get the extra 8 overs.
Yeah.
But since the 8 overs have begun, we've just had that one moment there from an Adcad where he edged to Potts in the slips, but generally it's looked fairly straightforward, hasn't it?
Potts is pointing something out, actually, down not sure what. Rain in bowls. Hit on the pad is an Adcat. No appeal from Ben Rain. He knew that was spearing down the leg side.
Yeah, it's hit the outside of the pad going well down leg.
Yeah, Prentice goes to Prentice has sneaked on 42 here. He's had a decent season with the bat. Actually, having a little look at his, I think he's on 6 half-centuries as well from memory this season. So it's a decent season with the bat, Finn. Not so with the ball, really. I think he'd be a little disappointed. Rain. I think you're on, Martin.
They're just playing a trail at the minute.
Right. That delivery goes outside the off stump, taken by Robinson. There is no run.
Yes, well, Sussex, once they'd gone 8 wickets down, that was the territory in which Durham were able to go for the extra half hour, which works out at 8 overs. So 8 down they were at the time, 232 for 8. That was in the end of the 69th over. But as they got to the end of the final scheduled over of the day, Sussex actually took the lead, and they haven't lost a wicket since. So they're currently 249 for 8. The lead is only 10. Now, this is the territory we're in. There's 4.2 overs to go today, so Durham needs to take 2 wickets in this over, in the next 2 balls, for this game not to go to tomorrow. And I'll tell you the reason for that as rain bowls this one, and it's guiding off down to third man. Once you get to within 3 overs, if the 2 wickets do fall then, you lose the over you're in, plus 2 for the change of innings. So Durham wouldn't actually be able to come and back. Sussex have just got to the 250 mark. So either way, this now will be going to tomorrow. So Durham will be hoping when they come back in the morning, they'll only be chasing maybe 20, 30, something like that. But Finn Hudson-Prentice is the man they really need to try and get out. He's on 42. Jadev Nudkat, the Indian international, is on 10. He recently edged the ball from Matt Parkinson to Matt Potts at first slip, but it came up sharply towards him at chin height, and all he could do was parry it back towards the keeper, but the keeper couldn't reach it. Rain tries to York Hudson-Prentice with the final ball of the over, and that means there's 4 overs to go. So Durham need to take, they need to take basically 2 wickets in this over, give themselves 1 over to try and chase 11 runs. So the likelihood is they'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, I see everyone just thinks we sit around at the cricket and don't do anything, Marty.
Yeah.
Matt Parkinson's healing off his sweater. So 4 overs to go. The lead is 11. Who's on strike now? It's Unadkat who's on strike. He's on 10. He's in a life, dropped on 8 by Matt Potts at slip. And in comes Matt Parkinson over the wicket bowls. And that cat is caught this time. Oh, Matt Potts does take the catch. And so a wicket does go down, and an cat makes as well. That was a rather soft dismissal, I have to say. He was just plodding forward outside edge, and Potts gleefully took the catch. So he might have put him down. Now he gets the catch, and there are 9 wickets down.
Now then, there's 5 balls left in order for Durham to get a wicket and be able to bat 1 over to possibly chase 11 runs, 12 runs.
Yeah. We're going to be back tomorrow, Marty, for a nonsense sort of...
He's out for 10.
Yeah. So there we go. 9th wicket goes down on 250 exactly. So the drop catch didn't really count for very much. And the last man in is Henry Crocombe, who's I might as well have a swing of the bat here, Henry, really. He's top scorer of 46 in first-class cricket, so he made some useful runs in the 50 over, but this is long gone for Sussex, and I'm afraid it's been a pretty, well, to choose my words carefully, it's been lovely up here because it's been beautiful weather, always good to come to Durham, lovely cricket ground. Sussex have been outclassed is the reality of it. To go from 110 without loss to losing the game effectively in 3 days, you've got to go some, really. And it's hugely disappointing. Good preparation for this game, Martin. They were knocked out the One Day Cup. They had a week off. They came up here early on Friday. They practiced here on Saturday, so they had really good preparation for this game. And I'm sure they'll be desperately disappointed. But perhaps it just shows the golfing class between the two sides, between what you need to get into Division 1 and what you are in Division 2. It's not all over for Sussex, but they're going to need a minor miracle, really, and results to go their way. Now, the Durham fielders are all clustered around the back. There are 2 slips and a silly point. As Henry Crocombe waits, in comes Parkinson. He's in and bowls down the leg side. Beautifully taken by Robinson. And there is no run. Parkinson has now taken 3 for 72 with his leg spin. He's back to his mark. 6 effectively, 11 for 9. In comes Parkinson, bowls. Broken back on his stumps, there's an appeal. Parkinson, they know that this is the crucial over to get this wicket. I reckon they'd have a swish as well, Durham, if they went in needing 11 in an over to win the game. Parkinson again, in and bowls. And Crocombe defends stoutly onto the onside. And there is no run. So 2 balls remaining in the over. Parkinson is back. And he's in 3 and clustered around the back bowls. Oh, he's beaten outside the outside. It's an appeal. No, he beat the outside edge.
It was in that.
No, it wasn't. It was more of a, God, come on, give us that. Well, if this ball doesn't produce a wicket, we're all coming back tomorrow. Probably only for 20 minutes or so, I suspect. Parkinson in bowls.
It's a no ball.
Oh, it is a no ball. So that makes it even less likely there's going to be a result because the lead will now go to 13.
Ooh.
That's quite a lot to get in one. Well, actually, it hasn't gone up on the scoreboard. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah,
13. There it goes. Parkinson in and bowl. Oh, what a ball down the leg side. We're coming back tomorrow, folks. That is the end of the over. The Durham lads know it as well. That's not to say that Sussex won't be bowled out tonight, of course, because we've still got 3 overs to go. And we could be coming back for, well, who knows, tomorrow morning. The lead is 13 either way. Shrug of the shoulders from Hudson Prentice.
Shadows are creeping right across the square now from the pavilion. Ben Rain bowling here to Hudson Prentice on 42. Tries to york him. There's a lot of bat on that. Scott Borthwick screeching and squealing and appealing, and everybody's laughing. There was a lot of bat on that. His sunglasses have blown off in the middle of all of that excitement. A lot of dust came up. I'm wondering if you thought he'd been bowled there and hadn't realised the bails were still on because of that much dust. I don't know.
Oh, that was very funny.
Here comes Rain. Slower Yorker. That's gone through to the keeper. You have to say Durham have done well here today to put themselves in this position.
Absolutely.
3 centurions in their innings, maximum batting points for the 7th time this season.
Yeah. They've shown they're a very good side, Martin. Their only defeat was against Sussex. First game of the season. That was a very close game as well, but Sussex haven't kicked on from that win.
In comes Rain again. That's pushed up to Beddingham at mid-on for 1 by Hudson Prentice. I always felt that was the one that got away from a Durham point of view. They just had that wobbly morning on day 3 when Hudson Prentice came into the attack to replace Garton and suddenly took 4 wickets in no time at all. Went through Durham's top order. It was quite a sort of muggy morning, wasn't it? A bit steamy and misty. Can you remember?
Yes, it was.
And good conditions for bowling, ball nipping around.
Yeah, and but Sussex were indebted to Ollie Carter on that occasion as well for getting Sussex over the line.
Crocombe is on none after facing 6. That's gone down the leg side.
No ball as well.
No ball. What I noticed this morning was I came into the ground and I went to do my video previewing the day, and all of the playing surface was in brilliant sunshine. But right where the boundary rope started, that was all in the shadows. And as I was walking around on the outfield, I could feel the dew splashing up on my shins off the ground.
Yeah.
So it was really damp.
That time of year, Marty, isn't it?
I had clear skies last night. It was actually quite warm last night as well. 2.5 overs to go today here then on the BBC. We'll be back tomorrow for day 4. Rain bowls, and that's played up field to Beddingham.
The cricket elsewhere today outside of the Championship, Martin. Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy wins for the Central Sparks.
Who were they playing?
Wins for the Blaze. I'm sorry, they beat the Sparks by 3 wickets. The Southern Vipers, beating the Northern Diamonds by 3 runs. George Adams making 82 there.
That was up at South North, and you could.
The Thunder beating the South East Stars by 6 wickets, and the Sunrisers beating Western Storm by 4 wickets. That was all in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy today.
Rain in again. This is played by Crocombe out through mid-wicket, and you'll get a run. It's gone a wide mid-on. So 1 ball left of this over. 2 overs to go today of the extra half hour we are now playing. It's an hour since the day's play should have finished.
Yeah, it is.
Tell you what, mind, Adrian, if you had a suspicious wife and she didn't believe you about late finishes at cricket, you could be in all kinds of trouble as a cricket commentator, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could.
Or even a player.
Yeah.
Your game should have finished at half-5 today. Where have you been?
Mm.
Rain bowls. Slow, loopy Yorker. Played away by Hudson Prentice. Might get 4 for this. Beddingham's chasing after it all the way towards the boundary at long on, just down to our right. They're going to run 3. So that takes him on to 46.
Yeah, we've got 2 more overs to go. 240.
Rich says, this is a hypothetical question. If a team had 1 over to get X runs, having claimed the extra overs and reached X for 1, but lost a wicket with 2 balls to go, would the next batsman be able to come in? I don't know. Possibly not.
Good question.
Normally, if there's a wicket in the final over of the day, you don't.
You go off, don't you?
Go off, but depends if it's the final over of the final day.
Yeah. Final T20's underway as well. England against New Zealand at Trent Bridge. England 65 for 1 in the 7th. Will Jacks out there for 16. In the Championship, Somerset 102 for 2 in their second innings, needing another 400 to beat Hampshire. Northampton in trouble down at Wantage Row, 211 for 5, still trailing Lancs by 81. A win for Surrey today. They look in a good place to retain the Championship. But Essex will chase them all the way. They're 104 for 1, leading Middlesex by 229. In comes Parkinson Bowles, and Hudson Prentice plays a full toss down the ground for his 47th run, 260 for 9. The lead is now 21. Surrey beating Warwickshire about the first half hour this morning by an innings and 97 runs. In the second division, they finished up at Scarborough, where Derbyshire need another 506 runs to beat Yorkshire. Yorkshire made 520 for 9 in their second innings. Some made some runs there. In comes Parkinson Bowles. Forward comes Crocombe, play to Selimadov, and there is no run. Runs pretty much all the way down the order. Or Yorkshire, Matthew Reevis making 100. He made 106. In comes Parkinson Bowles, and Crocombe with a flick of the wrists plays that to mid-wicket. There is no run. And again, Indian Bowles. Crocombe is forward and plays it into the offside. And it's another dot ball. Crocombe 1 not out, 260 for 9. Durham would dearly love to take this wicket tonight when they just come back tomorrow and they've got to score, 20 odd runs to win the game. Parkinson. In and Bowles, and Crocombe is forward and plays the ball to extra cover, where again there is no run. Matt Potts is on his knees there at second slip. In comes Parkinson, bowls, and that turns away from the right-handed Crocombe, taken by Ollie Robinson. And there is no run. That is the end of Matt Parkinson's work for the day. 25 overs, 4 maidens, 3 for 75. Well, it is a bit of an anticlimax at the end of what's been a very good day for Durham. We shouldn't forget that. As Martin was saying, 300s in the Durham innings. One yesterday from Alex Lees, who made 103. But then 103 from Baz de Lange. That was a super innings. And 128 from Graham Clark. That was really the partnership that won the match for Durham. In all honesty, partnership of 207. At a stage where Durham were just trailing by 1 run with 5 wickets in hand, and they just batted beautifully to take the game away from Sussex. And Sussex have never really threatened to clear those arrears. Carter and Pujara did their best. But final over of the day.
Rain in, and that's pushed away by Hudson Prentice off towards point. He's going to come back for 2. He's going to get 49 runs on the board now. So he's on a half century.
Be his 7th of the season, Martin. So he's had a good season with the bats, Hudson Prentice.
What did he get in the first innings? 31.
Yeah, hold out, didn't he, down a fine leg.
Was that the catch from? No, it wasn't. That was.
No, it was. He stood there for ages when he was out. He couldn't believe he'd played the shot.
Oh, he played at Clark. Was that the one? This is pushed away for 50. He gets his 50 in the final over of the day. It comes in 58 balls, 4 fours.
A generous round of applause from the spectators who have stayed on and hoping that Durham will wrap this up today, but they've had a good day's cricket regardless. The lead is now 24. Ben Ranger sort of reorganising his field here. He's bringing in some closer fielders as well.
Rain bowls, and that's left alone by Crocombe. Gone through to the keeper.
Who are you going to speak to tonight, Marty?
I think I'd probably ask for Baz de Lange, I think, because he got a few wickets as well, didn't he? 3 wickets he took?
Yeah, bowled really well. And made 100.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably have a word to Ollie Carter today. Ollie batted really nicely.
Yeah, delayed a 3 for 36, and he got 103 runs on the board as well, his first championship century. Rain in and bowls. That's played up to Beddingham at mid-on. Beddingham is now hatless. And the shadows from the pavilion now about a quarter of the way across the square. 2 balls left of what's been a long day.
It's a hugely long day, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, it's an hour and 10 minutes longer than it was meant to be. We came on air at 10:30 this morning, so rain in. That comes in low and is fended away by Crocombe.
We've still got a bit of work to do yet, Marty. A bit of writing up and things to do. So,
oh yeah, be another hour easy before we're away from here.
Well,
in fact, Adrian, since you're here, we may as well have a beer at the end of the day, eh? You're not on the A1. 263 for 9. If Durham can get a wicket here, they'll be chasing 25. If they can't, who knows? And they can't, so who knows? That is the end of the day's play then. Sussex have seen out the extra half hour. They have a wicket to play with tomorrow. How much more can they push on? They lead by 24 at 263 for 9. Crocombe has 1. And Hudson Prentice has 50. So they were 1 run ahead They were 8 down when Durham took the extra half hour, but they only got the 1 wicket in that process, and that was with about just over 3 overs to go, wasn't it? How many? They had 5 balls left in which to try and get the final wicket so they could have an over and bat. So it was 3 point